Turn off your lights. Make sure your doors and windows are locked. Things are about to get spooky. Mystery Door by Sam Gnome User. I've had a few glitches in my life, but most are probably just poor memory or simple coincidences. One in particular has stuck with me and my wife for years. It was nice to be with a witness because it eliminated second guessing. About 7 years ago, we were living in a typical suburban neighborhood with typical sidewalks, schools, and park. We walked our dog every night after dark and enjoyed multiple routes through the neighborhoods. One route included a middle school, and we would walk behind and around the athletic fields. One night, walking around the school grounds, we both noticed a strange small door in the brick wall on the back of the school. The door was small, like 3 to 4 feet tall and 3 feet wide. No windows or anything. Just a basic door, just small. The brick wall was large, close to like 20 feet tall and over 100 feet long. There are 2 sets of regular doors on either end, but nothing but brick in between, no windows. The indoor school gym is on the other side. The small door was halfway between the regular entry/exit doors. It looked so out of place. We walked past this part of the school dozens of times. Neither of us remembered a small door, and that's why we both kept talking about it. I guess some sort of a utility door for equipment and stuff like that. And my wife mentioned storage closet. We were about 75 feet away as we walked by, and we both kept staring at it. It just seemed so strange being there, and its size didn't make sense. Neither of us walked up to it or anything like that, but I wish we did. We just walked by looking and talking about it. The back of the school was well lit, so it was plain as day, a small door in a brick wall. 3 to 4 nights later, we did the same route. I brought up the door and said I was going to check it up close this time. When we got to the back of the school, we both stopped dead in our tracks. There was no little door, just a brick wall. It was kinda jarring, honestly. It was weird seeing a door that neither of us remembered. It was much stranger expecting it to be there and nothing. We both walked to the brick wall and started looking for any signs of a doorway being recently bricked in. Nope, just old brick and mortar from the same vintage. Nothing disturbed or different along the whole face of the wall. It was the strangest damn thing. The only logical thing we can think of was someone laid a small door against the brick wall. But it just doesn't make sense. It didn't look like that. It looked framed into a wall and we weren't far away from it when we saw it. A lean door would have been obvious. During the following years, there was always a level of nerves taking that route. We always expected to see a little door just show up again, but it didn't. Just a brick wall. I watched everyone evacuate from the coast as the sea receded after an earthquake. 3 days later, the water hasn't returned yet. Ziplock Bag by XBunnyXP. I went to Costco with my mom because she was picking up some snacks for her students. She told me I could pick up a couple of snacks for myself, so I chose a giant box of Oreos and a giant box of Rice Krispie treats. A couple days later, I was bored, and what do I do when I'm bored? I eat. At the time, I was in the mood for something salty and was kind of mad at myself for not picking up some crisp or something. Anyway, I decided to eat some Oreos, thinking once I began eating them, maybe I'd develop a taste for something sweet. Now, keep in mind, these Oreos come in a large box of 12 packs. Each pack contains 13 Oreos, which I always thought to be a weird amount. Why not 12 or 14? Unfortunately, after eating the first Oreo, I was turned off and put the rest of them in a Ziplock bag for another day so they wouldn't get stale. A few days later, I'm in the mood for my Oreos, so I open the Ziploc, but both sides are completely sealed, like straight out of the factory, as if it had never been opened before. I counted the amount of Oreos in the pack and compared it to a few others still in the box, and of course, there were only 12 compared to 13, meaning I had eaten from the pack in the Ziploc, yet it somehow perfectly sealed itself shut as if it had never been opened before. I was spooked, but still ate the rest of the Oreos anyway and put the Ziploc to the side. A few hours later, I'm in the mood for a Rice Krispie. The box is a variety pack, so it's full of chocolate flavors. A chocolate drizzle flavor, a candy-coated chocolate flavor. The candy-coated chocolate ones are very inconsistent. Sometimes they'll be coated with 1 chocolate, sometimes they'd be coated with 10. I opened one of the candy-coated chocolate ones, and I remember vividly that there was only 2 of them on this Rice Krispie, so I loosely put it back in the wrapper, took the same Ziploc that I had the Oreos in, and put the Krispie in there. I opened another Krispie, and fortunately, that one had a decent amount of chocolate on it, so I ate it. A couple days later, I'm ready to eat the plain Rice Krispie, so I opened the Ziploc, and I kid you not, when I pulled back the wrapper, it was filled to the brim with chocolate. Sadly, I forgot exactly how many I counted, but it was around 12 to 14. Again, I still ate the Rice Krispie, but ultimately threw away the Ziploc bag as I was creeped the F out. Each of the victim's bones were individually removed from the body with a scalpel until the entire skeleton was extracted. However, the coroner hit pause with trembling hands, took a deep breath, and let it out slowly before continuing her report. Bruising and healing patterns on the remaining skin indicate that 60% of the skeleton was removed ante-mortem. Neighbor changed by Anonymous. The situation has been troubling me for a few years whenever I think back about it. To make it simple, I lived for 6 years at the same place. It was a few years ago. I was staying at that time, so sometimes coming back to a family home. It was a flat at ground level of a building where there were 3 other flats. I was at the end of the corridor. I never met the neighbor in front of me that was also on the same side. Don't know if it was even rented. Briefly saw a few times the neighbor to the side of me. I mean, very briefly, like just saying hellos. However, I've met a few of the ones in front of me. Actually, I'm pretty sure I remember them all. At first, there was a white girl, a student. Then there was a black girl that was a student. And then, for a longer time, a tall white guy, a psychologist. I spoke a bit more with the last one, from time to time. Gladly belief exchanges, but still there were some. I remember one day, when he forgot to close his door, I rang the bell until he comes to warn him, for example. I think not much long after that, when leaving the flat, I came across a new guy. He was middle-sized, about 170-ish centimeters, white, with a bit of a reggae vibe, chill guy. I asked him if friends with the neighbor, the tall dude, but then he looked at me a bit weirdly. Through the conversation, he told me he'd been living here for like 5 years. I responded to him that it was impossible. There was another guy like a month ago, but he looked at me even weirder, so I didn't push the conversation more, and he looked genuine in his expression. That would mean he lived for as long as I did at the same place, which was absolutely impossible. It couldn't be a romantic partner. I witnessed him moving up with a black girl with family. From then on the remaining year I spent there, I saw him only as a neighbor. When we talked from time to time, brief exchanges, like when I asked him if he had food for a stray cat I hosted when she wanted. Jim, big up to you, wherever you are, roommate. This is the only bizarre thing I experience. Something's off about it. Can't recall other weird stuff of this sort. I've been a lighthouse keeper for 32 years, and it sickens me how many people think of mermaids as pretty fairy tales. I see their pale faces and glowing eyes bobbing amongst the waves every night, their hypnotic song failing to reach my deaf ears as they try in vain to lure me to the same fate as my predecessor. This happened way back in the 90s by Hispana Obscura. I finally found the place to tell this story. It happened to me some 30 years ago. I took the usual bus from my university to my home, but was experiencing a heavy headache. Back then, the bus tickets were color-coded by day, and I got my orange ticket and got on the bus together with other people with the same ticket color. Then I sat down by the middle and closed my eyes. When my stop was near, I opened my eyes and felt off. All the people around me looked different. It's not like I was paying special attention, mind you, just a general awareness of the people that were close by when the trip started, and I was pretty sure those others were different. I asked to get off on my stop, but the driver told me I had to pay because he hadn't seen me getting in. I showed him the orange ticket. He told me the tickets were blue that day. I started to argue, but then noticed everyone else had blue tickets, so I paid again, confused. During my walk to my home, I stopped by a public phone, it was the 90s, to call up a friend. Dialed her home number, but a man answered and told me it was the wrong number. Called again, same result. I was even more confused and my head was killing me, so I hurried home. I found it strange that the house was empty since my parents very rarely went out. Called their names, linked springs, but finally collapsed in my bed and fell asleep. An hour later I woke up, and when I get out of my room, my parents were there, telling me they had been there all day and confused as how they didn't notice me arrive. I dialed my friend again. She answered, told me no one else had been at her house that day. Still don't know what to make of it. Nothing weird has happened to me ever since. The sound of my newborn crying should have been the happiest moment of my life. But I only feel pain and dread as the woman I considered my friend cuts my baby out of my abdomen without anesthesia, repeating that she always wanted to be a mother. Gone for 6 months, now back for good, by Anonymous. About 6 months ago, I came back from a work trip that I had brought 5 Nintendo Switch video games with me. I'm a creature of habit and always put video games in the same 2 spots, if not one spot, the electronic pouch, then in a specific backpack pocket. Well, a bit after I unpacked, I thought, where are my Switch games? I immediately go into a frenzy looking for $300 worth of games since I rarely misplace things. I turn my office upside down looking at all the places it could possibly be. No luck. My wife could tell that I was stressed and sad at the thought of losing a chunk of my games, most of the ones we played together. She goes out of her way to double check places I've already looked, just so we can be sure I didn't overlook them. Again, no luck. At this point, I sunk into sadness and began to accept that I lost them for good. I stopped looking for them since we couldn't find them anyway. Fast forward to today. I'm shopping the internet and thinking about getting Nintendo Switch 2. I go down the rabbit hole and start looking at games, just to be reminded of the games I scrolled by I once had and lost. I got the idea, let me check my electronic pouch one more time. No clue where that fleeting thought came from and why there specifically. I run into my office, open my pouch, and 6 months later, all of the games are in there. I searched this pouch at least 6 times, removed everything from it, had my wife do the same on her own. We did it together, and the games were not in this pouch. All that to say, 1, I'm elated I found the games. 2, where the hell were they this entire time? And 3, what timeline did we jump to? I'm flabbergasted. I always read this thread and wonder when I'd have something to contribute. If my wife never looked with me, she'd probably think I didn't look hard enough, but she is just as baffled as I am. A family of yokels bleed my healing water stick and actually paid me to sprinkle tap water on their dying son. As the first few drops stuck to his paled skin, the boy bared his fangs in a grin and smiled. I knew this guy was a fake. I knew information that was never shared by Strawberry Sushi Roll. This happened about 4 years ago or so. It was just another normal weekend, and I was chatting on WhatsApp with my best friend. We're from Latin America. He loves sending voice messages. I hate them, but I listen to them because he's my best friend. He asked if he could come over so we could hang out, and I said yes. That's when things start to get weird. I remember exactly what he said in the message, his tone of voice, and even the background noises from his house. He was still a little groggy because he had woken up about 30 minutes or so earlier and said, I'm just going to take a shower and stop by the pharmacy to get some meds for my sister's cramps. And I replied to that voice message with a text, sure, no rush, don't worry. After that, we stopped messaging each other. He was getting ready and I was just waiting. He lives far away from me on the other side of town, so it takes about 40 minutes to get to my place walking. Considering everything he had to do, I figured it'd take him over an hour plus to get here, so I just kept doing my stuff. He ended up arriving earlier, and I was like, already? I really thought he had arrived earlier than I had expected, so I went to open the gate for him. I asked cautiously, wow, you got here fast. Did you already buy your sister's medicine? He immediately looked at me confused and said, how did you know I went to the pharmacy for my sister? I just replied, Allison, you literally just told me that in your voice message. I didn't send any voice message about that. Yes, you literally did. I didn't. My friend likes to make fun of me, and this was a typical kind of prank he pulls, so I figured it was just another one of his silly attempts, so I said, I'll show you. We went to the living room, I grabbed my phone and scrolled back to the beginning of the day's message history, going through them one by one. There was no voice message. We talked about it some more. He also the type to get scared easily and was just getting a little nervous, and I said, I swear I heard it. How else would I know that? I don't know, you're kind of freaking me out, he says. I looked once, twice, 3 times with the utmost patience and care, but the voice message wasn't there, not even my reply. For anyone who might be thinking he simply deleted, WhatsApp shows a pop-up saying this message has been deleted. So that wasn't it. And even so, my direct reply to that voice message was also missing. All of the messages was their full combo. Only these two were missing. We never reached a conclusion. He still swears he didn't send it, and I still vividly remember the audio message. We literally spent that day in shock and fear. We talk to other friends about this incident sometimes when sharing IRL glitches, and we kind of laugh when we talk about it. But it's a nervous laugh because we still feel a little scared. I know this sub doesn't accept stories about technology involved, but I think in this case the point is I had information that my friend swears he did not send to me. And he was genuinely scared. Too scared for me to think it was just another prank. I think I just hopped to a timeline where the information was never shared. My insane work schedule caused me to miss what they were calling a first-of-its-kind comet, where people were scheduled to view it as if it was the 4th of July. On my way to work, the news broadcast to every channel stated, as far as experts can tell, the comet caused the nervous system of anyone looking upon it to attack their eyes. And with that, our time together is coming to an end. If you have a story you'd like me to narrate, whether true or fictional, I have 3 different ways you can send it my way. All the links, including the ones to my socials, are down below for you guys. I'd like to thank all the writers who let me read their stories this evening. Definitely a video full of things changing on you out of nowhere. To a door too small to be there, to not being there like it's supposed to be. Games disappearing and then reappearing. Heck, even a neighbor seeming to change randomly on you. And then shifting to a reality where the bus ticket's color changed. And then more food appearing in a Ziplock bag, like you never ate any, and also the reason you put it away is now not there anymore. And lastly, your friend's voicemail that told you that they were going to go get meds just disappeared from your phone, including the reply that they would not be able to delete. Very odd indeed. I always enjoy reading these kinds of stories. The odd experiences, sometimes you can explain them away, but sometimes you can't. And I've had some odd experiences where I was sure of something like A happening and it was actually B, and then wondering if I was just going crazy. I hope you all stay safe and stay in the dimensions and no other items disappear or shift on you. Thank you guys so much for letting me read your stories. Now if you enjoyed these stories, hit that like button and make sure it feels it. If you're new, please subscribe and turn that pretty little bell to all notifications. And if you'd be so kind to hype this video as well. I would also absolutely love a comment. Tell me what you thought, which one was your favorite story, and what kind of stories you'd like in the future. If you got this far, please put a comment saying, "My bus ticket is now green." If you're listening on the podcast and are able to, please leave a review and a comment. And if you're willing to help this podcast and channel grow, please share it with anyone who might enjoy it. It helps quite a bit. But if you're willing to help in a more financial way, I do have Patreon and memberships where you get a few bonuses to go with that. If you want something physical with my little avatar on it, I do have merch. Or if you just want to do kind of a tip thing, I do have Buy Me a Coffee, PayPal, and Super Thanks. But as always, guys, thank you for watching and listening. It always has and always will mean the world to me. Sleep tight and don't let 42 bite.